Welcome back to The Mind, a podcast series by the Ramakrishna Vedanta Centre, New Zealand. A conversation at the meeting point of modern science and the contemplative traditions of yoga and Vedanta. I'm Rama, your host. For 6 lessons now, the group has been exploring the mind, its waves, its filters, its noise, its attention, the rhythms that steady it. Today, they go beneath all of that, to the ground it stands on, the body and the breath. It turns out the body is not the opposite of the mind, nor a distraction from the inner work. It is the mind at its slowest, densest end, one continuous spectrum of a single living energy the tradition calls Prāṇa. And because the breath sits right where body meets mind, it becomes the one handle you can actually take hold of, a slow, steady wave the quicker mind learns to ride. Today, why every contemplative tradition starts with the body, why just calm down never works, but a slow breath does, and how 3 states of one nerve turn out to be the 3 gunas in the flesh: body, prana, and the energetics of experience. Let's join them. The same room, an early evening, windows open. There's an unhurried ease in the group now.
Last time you each took one of the 3 principles into your week: resonance, rhythm, coherence. What did you find?
I protected one rhythm, a proper wind down before bed, and held it every night. The whole house got easier, not just me, and the coherence check before hard conversations was a revelation. When my words and my feeling and my intention all pointed the same way, the conversation just went better. Less of me fighting myself.
I tried being the steady wave on purpose. One tense afternoon, I slowed my own breathing before saying a word, and I watched the class settle toward me instead of me getting dragged toward them. It actually worked, which slightly unnerved me.
I guarded my sleep. Even a bit more made a real difference, and I noticed which people and which feeds leave me clear and which leave me churned. Some of it was uncomfortable to admit.
I did the 3 things, prescribed rhythm as real medicine and said so plainly, was the calm presence in one difficult consultation, and pointed one isolated patient toward a steady group. But all 3 kept leading me to the same question, which I think is today's. When I slow a panicking patient's breath and the whole storm settles in 2 minutes, what exactly have I just done? It feels almost too powerful for something so simple.
That is exactly today's question, Doctor. And the answer takes us underneath the mind entirely, to the body and the breath. Let's begin where the old teachers began.
Underneath the mind, I thought the mind was the whole subject of this course.
It is, Kai, and that's exactly why we have to come down to the body now, because the body is not something other than the mind. It's the same thing, vibrating more slowly. Let me give you the picture the tradition gives. Swami Vivekananda put it in 3 words. All force is prana. One single energy runs through everything. The electricity in a wire, the warmth of sunlight, the heartbeat in your chest, the thought moving through your head, the deep peace in meditation. Not 5 different energies, one energy, appearing at different speeds and densities.
That sounds like a nice idea, but is it more than a nice idea?
Fair challenge, and here's the everyday proof you can run yourself. Slow your breathing right down for 1 minute, longer out than in. What happens to your thoughts?
They slow down too, they get quieter.
So you just change something physical, the air moving in your chest, and a moment later something mental changed, the speed of your thoughts. If body and mind were truly separate substances, why would the one move the other so directly? They move together because they are not 2. They're one energy at 2 speeds. Think of a single spectrum, like the keys of a piano running from the lowest, slowest, heaviest notes up to the highest, finest ones. The body is the base end, slow, dense, you can touch it. Breath is a little higher, then emotion, then thought, then the subtlest awareness at the top. All one keyboard, all one energy.
So when my body is exhausted and heavy, my thoughts go heavy and slow too. They're the same note, just low on the keyboard.
Precisely, Sarah. You feel the keyboard every day. And here is why this matters so much for practice. If the body were separate from the spirit, then working with the body would be a lesser, lower thing, a warm-up before the real work. But on one keyboard, there is no lesser end. Touching the body is touching the same living energy that becomes thought and awareness, only at its densest. This is why every tradition that actually changes people works with the breath and the body first, and never apologizes for it. You're not polishing a cage you're trapped in. You're playing the lowest notes of your own instrument, and the whole instrument is you.
That reframes a lot. I always half thought the body stuff was the soft preliminary before the proper mental discipline.
Many of us were taught to think so, James, and it quietly holds people back. The body is not the preliminary, it is the foundation. You can't steady the top of the keyboard while the bottom is crashing. So we learn to play from the bottom up.
If it is all one energy, why does the tradition talk about 5 prāṇas? I have seen the list and never understood what to do with it.
Because the one energy does 5 different jobs in you, Doctor. And naming them tells you exactly where to work. They aren't 5 substances. Think of one energy moving in 5 directions through one house. The tradition calls them the 5 vayus, the 5 energies. Let me give them to you as 5 movements you already know in your own body. First, prāṇa, proper, the energy of taking in. The in-breath, the eyes opening to light, the ears taking in sound, the mind opening to receive what's in front of it. It's the movement of intake.
And when it's too much?
Then you're flooded, Doctor, overwhelmed by input, which you'll recognize in an anxious patient who can't filter anything out. Second, its opposite, apāna, the energy of letting go. The out-breath, the body's elimination, and, in the mind, the releasing of finished thoughts and spent emotions. When apāna is weak, a person holds on. The upsetting thing happened hours ago, but it keeps ringing, because nothing in them can put it down.
Oh, that's me at 3 a.m. The conversation finished at dinner, and my mind is still running it.
That's apāna asking for help, Sarah. The letting go has gone weak. Third is samāna, the equalizer, sitting at the center. In the body, it's digestion, turning food into something you can use. In the mind, it's exactly the same movement, digesting an experience into understanding. When it's strong, hard things get processed and integrated. When it's weak, experience just sits there, raw and undigested.
That's a whole theory of why some students never seem to absorb a hard lesson. It went in, but it never got digested.
Beautifully put, James. And the cure is the same as for food. Don't pile on more. Give time and quiet to digest what's there. Fourth is udana, the upward energy of expression, effort, and reaching higher, speech, aspiration, growth. It's what lets you reach towards something subtler than where you are. And fifth is vyana, the pervading energy, circulation, distribution, the blood reaching every cell, and in the mind, the sense that all the parts are connected and talking to each other.
And if that one's blocked?
Then you get the opposite of connected, Kai. People describe it exactly. I felt numb. I couldn't really process it. It was like watching myself from outside. That's vyana not reaching through the system. The parts have gone disconnected. Now, why does this list matter, rather than just being a tidy chart? Because each energy has a handle. Reception too high? Lengthen the out-breath, calm the intake. Can't let go? Work with the long exhale, which is literally the body's letting go gesture. Can't digest? Rest. Quiet. Don't add more. The 5 energies turn a vague "I feel awful" into which movement has gone wrong and what gesture restores it.
So this old map is actually a diagnostic tool. It tells me where in the system the energy has stalled, and the breath is the lever for several of them at once.
That's the whole practical value of it, Doctor. 5 movements and the breath touches nearly all of them.
Now let's come to my question. When I slow a patient's breath and the panic settles in 2 minutes, what have I done?
You've given the whole system a slow, steady wave to ride on, Doctor. Let me build the picture. Of all your body's rhythms, the breath is one of the slowest, around 12 to 15 breaths a minute at rest. The mind, by comparison, is quick and flickering. Now here's the key fact. A fast, light thing tends to fall into step with a slow, strong thing nearby. The quick mind rides on whatever slow wave the body is providing. If the breath is fast and shallow, the mind flickers and races. If the breath is slow and deep, the mind settles toward that pace.
Like a small boat on the sea. If the sea is choppy, the boat is thrown around. If the swell is long and slow, the boat just rises and falls easily.
That's a perfect image, Kai. The breath is the swell and the mind is the boat. And there's a particular speed that does something special. Slow the breath to about 6 breaths a minute, longer out than in, and you hit the natural resonant rhythm of the heart and circulation. The heart and breath synchronize. Doctors can measure it. The gap between heartbeats starts to vary in a healthy, flexible way, which is a sign of a nervous system that can shift gears freely, rather than being stuck in one. And at that same slow pace, the body's rest and restore branch switches on. Blood pressure eases. The mind quietens. You did that, Doctor, in 2 minutes, with nothing but the breath.
So the breath is the one autonomic process a person can actually take hold of voluntarily.
That's exactly its gift, Doctor. You can't tell your heart to slow or your gut to calm by command. But the breath answers to intention, and through it you reach all the rest. In our language from the last lessons, slow, steady breathing does 4 things at once. It lays down a steady, slow reference the rest of the system tunes to. It lowers the background hiss, the noise, so perception clears. It steadies the gain, so things stop feeling blown out of proportion. And it settles the mind's own pace, so the flicker between you and the world slows down. 1 simple act, 4 effects.
This is why just calm down is useless, isn't it? You can't order the mind to calm.
You can't, Sarah, and telling someone to do it often makes it worse. The mind is the top of the keyboard, too quick to grab directly. But the breath is lower and slower, and you can take hold of that. And the mind follows it down. That's not a trick, it's the order of the instrument. This is exactly why in the classical 8-fold path of yoga, breathwork comes before the training of attention. You steady the slow wave first. Then, standing on that, the finer work of concentration actually becomes possible.
So when I slowed my breath before that tense class, I wasn't just calming myself, I was laying down a slow wave the whole room could fall into step with.
Both at once, James. You steadied your own boat and became the slow swell for 30 other boats. That's the quiet power in it.
There's a piece of modern science I keep meeting that seems to fit all this, but I have never heard anyone connect it to the tradition. the vagus nerve and the three states it organizes.
Then let's connect it now, Doctor, because the fit is almost startling. Modern researchers describe one long nerve, the vagus, running from the brain down through the heart and the gut, and they find it organizes the body into three basic states. And those three states are, almost exactly, the three gunas the tradition has described for millennia. Tell me the first one.
The settled one. When a person feels safe, the face softens, the voice warms, they're open, present, able to connect. The heart is steady but flexible. Digestion works. They can listen and cooperate.
That is sattva, Doctor, in the flesh. Safety, openness, clarity, connection. And, exactly as we said, slow breathing at around 6 a minute switches this state on. The body signals upward. We are safe. It's all right to be open. The mind answers by settling into ease. Sattva is not only a lofty ideal, it has a doorway in the body, and the breath is the key. What's the second state?
Threat. The system mobilizes. Heart races, pupils widen, blood leaves the gut for the muscles, breathing goes fast and shallow, attention narrows to the danger, the mind races, ready to fight or run.
That is rajas, Doctor. Agitation, urgency, contraction. In our terms, the gain shoots up, so everything feels intense and a small remark lands like an attack. The background noise rises, and the mind jumps about, unable to settle. It is not a flaw in the person. It's a system doing precisely what it's built to do under threat. And the third?
Shutdown. When the threat feels like too much and there's no way out, the system collapses. Numbness, heaviness, dissociation, that watching myself from outside again. Metabolism slows.
That is tamas. Inertia, heaviness, disconnection. And notice the compassion in this map, Doctor, which matters enormously for your patients. The numb, shut-down state is not laziness or weakness or a person who won't engage. It is a nervous system that turned the volume right down to protect them from something that felt unbearable. The system is still alive, still experiencing, just heavily and faintly. When you understand that, you stop blaming the person for being checked out, and you start gently helping the system feel safe enough to come back up.
That completely changes how I'd read a teenager who's gone flat and distant. I'd have called it sulking or laziness. You're saying it might be protection.
Very often it is, Sarah, and meeting it as protection rather than defiance changes everything you do next. And here's the thread that ties the whole module together. When the old texts say, cultivate sattva, part of what they mean is now measurable. Help the body into the safe, open, settled state, with slow breath, steady rhythm, calm company, a posture of dignity. The deepest meaning of sattva reaches far beyond the nervous system, but this layer is real, and it's a door you can open today. Lift the body from shutdown toward mobilization if it's collapsed, settle it from mobilization towards safety if it's racing, and the mind clears as a direct consequence.
So the gunas are not just philosophy laid over biology. The biology is one of the layers the tradition was pointing at all along.
One of the layers, Doctor, and a real one. The map is the same territory, drawn in 2 languages. And the practical upshot is enormous. You have bodily doorways into states everyone thought you could only reach by talking. The body is where you start.
Can I bring this right down to the ground? Because part of me still files the body and my actual problems in separate drawers.
Then let's empty those drawers into one, Sarah. because the body runs right through every part of your experience. Remember the picture we built across this module. Every moment is your raw situation, colored by your past conditioning, plus your attention turned up or down, plus the background noise. Now watch where the body lives in each piece. Your past conditioning isn't only stored in your memory, it's stored in your muscles. Someone who has been badly frightened carries it as tightness, a held breath, a braced posture, long after the danger is gone. The body reacts before the thinking mind has even caught up. That's why a survivor can feel terror at nothing more than a tone of voice.
Which is why talking alone so often fails. You cannot reason someone out of a fear that is held in the muscles and the breath, not the thoughts.
Exactly the point, Doctor. And it's why body-based therapies have grown so quickly. They reach what talking can't. The conditioning is in the body, so you work with the body to soften it. Gentle movement, releasing the held tension, training the breath to be slow and deep. And that braced, ringing pattern starts to quiet. Next, the background noise we kept meeting. So much of it is physical. Pain is noise. Tiredness is noise. Hunger is noise. A nervous system stuck on high alert floods you with the felt sense of threat, and every perception arrives mixed with that static. Calm the body, and the static drops, and the world comes through clearer, with nothing mystical about it.
And the turning things up too loud part, the gain?
Set by the body's state too, Kai. On high alert, everything's amplified. A small setback feels like catastrophe. In the settled state, things are clear, but in proportion. And here's something you can use immediately. Posture changes it. Sit collapsed and folded, and you cue the body toward defeat and alarm. Sit with an upright spine and an open chest, not stiff, just dignified, and you cue the body toward safety and steadiness. You can shift the gain through how you hold your body, right now, before changing a single thought.
That's usable in a classroom tomorrow, with the students and with myself.
It's among the most usable things in the whole course, James. So when Sarah says the body and my real problems feel like separate drawers, the truth is they were always one drawer. The body isn't a distraction from the inner work. It's the entrance to it. Start there, and everything finer has solid ground to stand on. This week the practice is simple and physical. Take hold of the slowest wave you've got, the breath, and let the mind ride it down. 4 counts in, 6 counts out, for a few minutes a day. And each of you, watch one specific thing. Sarah, when your mind is still running a finished conversation at night, that's the letting go energy gone weak. Don't argue with the thoughts. Just lengthen your out-breath, the body's own gesture of putting down for a few minutes, and watch whether the grip loosens.
Long, slow out-breaths instead of arguing with my own head. I can do that tonight.
James, before one tense lesson, take 6 slow breaths and set your posture, upright and open, deliberately. Then notice 2 things: how the gain settles in you, and whether the room falls into step with your slower wave.
Be the slow swell on purpose and watch the boats. Yes.
Kai, run the experiment that convinces the skeptic in you. Take your baseline first. For 1 minute, just notice the pace of your thoughts. Then slow the breath for 5 minutes and notice the pace again. Let the change be your evidence that body moves mind, not my say-so.
Measure my own thoughts before and after. I like that it's testable.
And Dr. Watson, 2 things from today. With one dysregulated patient, name which state they're in, settled, mobilized, or shut down, and choose the bodily doorway to match. Slow breath to settle the racing one, gentle movement and warmth to lift the collapsed one. And with one shut-down patient, try meeting the flatness as protection rather than disengagement, and notice what changes in the room and in you.
Match the doorway to the state and read shutdown as protection. That reframes half my difficult mornings already.
Then we've reached the ground the whole mind stands on, and learned that we can work it directly. Next time, we go to the summit of this module. What kind of knowing dawns when every part of this finally comes into harmony?
So today, the body. Not the opposite of the mind, but its slowest, densest end, one continuous spectrum of a single living energy the tradition calls Prāṇa, running like a keyboard from the heavy bass of the body up to the finest notes of awareness. That one energy does 5 jobs in us, the 5 energies: taking in, letting go, digesting, reaching up, and circulating through the whole. And because the breath is the slowest rhythm we can take hold of by choice, it becomes the handle on everything else. Slow it to about 6 a minute, and the racing mind, riding on it like a boat on a long swell, settles too. The single nerve that organizes the body into safety, alarm, and shutdown turns out to map almost exactly onto the 3 gunas the tradition named long ago, which means we have bodily doorways into states we once thought we could only talk our way toward. And so the body, far from being a distraction from the inner path, is its very entrance. To go deeper, the full Lesson 3.7 is available in the course Beginners, Conversations on the Mind in the Light of Modern and Spiritual Sciences on the Ramakrishna Vedanta Center's website, www.vedanta.nz. It is also available as an app on Google Play and the Apple App Store by searching for Vedanta NZ. Next time, the summit of the module, the 2 ways of knowing, and the mind as the bridge between them. Until then, be gentle with your mind.